Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. You are appreciated, you are loved, and I appreciate your love and support. If you are new here, guys, my name is Judith. I'm based here in Thunder Bay, Northern Ontario in Canada. Well, I'm a mother and I love sharing my journey, my experiences with other people. And above everything else, guys, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. And I believe this is the work of God that I'm doing. Anyway, today's video, I want to focus on study visa application. What do you need to do? I will try to go through the steps that you need to follow, the documentation that you are required to submit if you are applying for a study permit, and I will give tips on how you can maximize your chances of getting a study visa. Like I said, the information that I give here is based on my experiences, other people's experiences, the people that I meet and talk to, other immigrants. And we talk about how they came to Canada and what is it that they did that made a difference to their application. So they were considered maybe to get that study permit. Now, what do you need to do if you want to come and study in Canada? I've already given you guys affordable colleges that you can attend. I hope you are researching and you are busy making that application. I've already shared with you again online colleges that you can attend here in Canada. The purpose of this video today is to go through how you can apply for that study visa. Let's say you get admitted, and how can you maximize your chances of getting the study permit. The first step, of course, if you want to come and study here in Canada, is to choose your college. And I've stressed already in my last video that two important things that you need to consider for choosing a college. The first thing is your college should be a designated learning institution, a DLI, that's what they call it. Okay, these are colleges or universities that have the permission to enroll international students. So the Canadian government gives the college the permission, or they authorize the college that it can go ahead and enroll international students. Very important, guys, to check. I will again put a link on this on the description of this video. When I'm putting links, guys, so when you are reading the description, the links are just below, because some people always come back and say we can't find the links. Okay, and the second thing that you need to consider when choosing a college is whether that college or university is postgraduate work permit eligible, especially if you want to convert your study permit to permanent residence, because you need the work experience, and Canada allows international students to gain experience. Once you are done with your studies, you can apply for what they call a postgraduate work permit that allows you to gain the Canadian work experience that you can eventually use to apply for permanent residence. So there are some colleges and universities that can enroll international students, but then they don't have they are not eligible, sorry, for a postgraduate work permit. So very important, guys, those two things. You need the Canadian experience, even if you are going to go back to your country. But I think the Canadian work experience will help you, especially if you were studying to go back home and get that promotion or whatever it is your career aspirations are. Now, the second step, once you've chosen your college and you got admitted, now is to apply for that study permit. What are the kind of documents that you need to submit? When your college admits you to their program, they give you what is called a letter of acceptance. And when you get the letter of acceptance, because this is one of the documents that you will submit to the Canadian government when you are applying for your study permit, make sure that the school, they put their name and contact details for the institution. They also, of course, put your name, your date of birth. If there's a student ID number that was already allocated to you, it's important that it's included in the letter of acceptance. The duration of the program and the completion date, the level of the program. Are you going to be studying for a certificate, diploma? Is it a degree? The expiry date of the letter of acceptance is also very important. In case you might need to extend the letter of acceptance date, like if the processing of your study visa like takes time. So those are the things that you need to take into consideration and check when you get your letter of acceptance. Of course, institutions and colleges, they know this, but it's important for you to know what should be in the letter of acceptance letter, so it doesn't mess up your study permit application eventually. Of course, when you are applying for a study permit, you need to have your police clearance. You need to do medical exams. There are very few countries where they don't require people to do medical exams, but most African countries, you need your police clearance, you need your medical exams, and of course the statement of purpose. Very important. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. What is a statement of purpose? This is like a letter that you are writing to the visa officer to convince them why they should give you a study permit to come and study here in Canada. So what are the kind of things that you should include, or things not to miss when you are writing your statement of purpose? Let's say you are already in the 40s and you are applying for a study visa. The statement of purpose is actually a letter that is giving you an opportunity to explain your situation. Why all of a sudden in the 40s you want to come and study in Canada? Because maybe you've been working already. Once you are in your 40s, guys, it becomes a little bit difficult, but not impossible, to get a study visa. So in your statement of purpose, it's important for you to explain. Maybe you can tell the visa officer that my skills are outdated, they are not relevant anymore, and I want that promotion in my workplace, and I want to come to Canada and gain new skills and experience that will help me to come back home and apply them so that I can get that promotion at work. Okay. The other thing to consider when you're writing your statement of purpose is you also need to explain or clarify gaps in employment. Sometimes I know back home, like for my brothers and sisters in Zimbabwe, the economic situation right now is not really good, and sometimes you spend so many years you are not working, but you want to try and come to Canada to study and improve your life. So you can explain those gaps in employment to the visa officer. Very important. It's not asked, they don't tell you what to write, but I'm just giving tips on how you can write your statement of purpose and maximize your chances of getting that study visa. Maybe if you are a mother like me, you can say, oh, I was not in the, I was not employed because I had kids and I had to take care of my kids, and now I want to go back to school so I can improve myself and pursue my career aspirations. It's also very important to explain and convince the visa officer that you'll be able to fund your studies and take care of other family members that you might want to bring to Canada if you have a family. So you need to explain, where are you getting to get the money from? Convince the visa officer in your statement of purpose that I can be able to fund my studies in Canada. The other thing to include is, what do you plan to do after your studies? Remember, a study visa, guys, it's a temporary visa for 2-3 years that requires you to leave Canada the moment it expires. So in your statement of purpose, you should convince the visa officer that I'll leave Canada as soon as I'm done. So it's important for you even to include some of the plans that you have after your studies. I want to come back home and I'm doing a lot of community work and I'm involved in the community. Maybe if you are someone who's coming to study social work, or I don't know, those programs that involve helping in the community. And or maybe you can tell the visa officer that once I'm done doing this business program, I want to go back home and start a business. Or I have a business that is running, and I have my brother or sister who will keep running the business. And once I'm done with my studies, I want to go back home and expand my business using the knowledge that I'll acquire in Canada. Very important, guys, to explain what do you plan after the 2 years or 3 years. And your plans should not be in Canada, even though you know that you might want to settle in Canada permanently. Home ties, they are very important. In your statement of purpose, you need to prove that you have strong home ties. Strong home ties mean that the visa officer is assured that you have something to go back to. Like for us Zimbabweans, because of our economic situation, this is sometimes a difficult part, because they think we are running away from the economic meltdown in our country. Yet sometimes, honestly, someone wants to come and study and improve themselves, gain that Canadian qualification. So guys, what can you use as home ties? You can use assets. If you have a house, that's a very strong proof of home ties. If you have a job, a promise of a job back home, a company that you are working for right now, you can ask them to write a letter that shows that your job will be waiting for you, maybe with the promise of a promotion, an official letter from a company. Then you can submit this letter, and this will help to convince the visa officer that really this person wants to come and study and they have a job to go back home. And in your proof, in your statement of purpose, guys, it's also very important for you to mention why you want to come and study in Canada. It's very expensive after all. Why not in your home country? So it's very important for you again to mention and convince the visa officer why. The why part. Why Canada? Why not Zimbabwe? Why not your home country? So you need, maybe some of the things or some of the factors that you can mention is that, Canadian education is, appreciated all over the world. The Western kind of education is different from the kind of education that is being offered in my home country. The quality. Canadian education is technologically advanced, and I want to come and have that experience, acquire that knowledge and take it back home. So that will kind of convince the visa officer that really you appreciate the education here, and your reason for coming is to study and study alone. Remember your statement of purpose. You are writing it to convince the visa officer that my purpose for coming to Canada is to study, and once I'm done with my studies, I can go back home. Of course, there is what they call the dual intent, where you can actually tell the visa officer that I intend to study and then settle permanently in Canada. I wouldn't advise you to follow that or to pursue that or to give that intention in your statement of purpose, because it's kind of tricky to convince the visa officer that you have a dual intent, though some people do it and they get their study visa. Now, you also need to, when you are applying, enough about the statement of purpose. When you are applying for your study permit, the government wants you to prove that you have enough funds to pay for your studies and take care of yourself, your living expenses, and your family if you are bringing any family members. So how can you prove? Proof of funds can be a bank statement from your bank that is dated, I think it's 4 months back. You need to provide that. And you can also use what they call a gift deed. I explained about this when I was talking about express entry, where a relative, gives you some money that you can use to fund your studies, and it's a gift. They write a document that authenticates, the transference of money, maybe from their account to your account, and they write some sort of explanation where they say, I'm giving this money as a gift to my child, to my brother, to my sister. So when you want to go that route as proof of funds, guys, it's advisable to use family members, because I mean, who is likely to loan you or to give you such a lot of money? It's family, not friends. Once you say you have a gift deed from friends, that may, raise questions from the visa officer. So these are just tips, guys, that I'm giving from my experience and research that I carry out for you. Now, I'm just going to end the video by giving general tips on how you can maximize your chances of getting that study permit. One thing, guys, when you're applying for a program here in Canada. Let's say, like for me, I was in the accounting field back home, and if I wanted to come and study here in Canada, it's reasonable to do something or to apply for a program that is related to accounting. I know many people, when they are coming from Africa, we want to come and go into nursing, but it's very tricky for you to convince the visa officer why the sudden change in career. Of course, when you are here, you can always change. Do the 1 year, 2 year program. And if you want to go into nursing, health, IT, you can do that. But when coming to study, try to do a program that is related to your career already back home. Accounting, I can come and do a master's in accounting. You can come and do a master's in business administration or some diploma. And again, if you already have a master's degree, it raises questions with the visa officer. If all of a sudden you want to come and do a certificate or a diploma, it's kind of okay. Why? Because it's like you're going down. So you need again to be very sure that you'll be able to convince the visa officer why a diploma. Maybe because I want to add on to my skills. The master's program that I did back home, it did not really expose me to what is happening today because of the advancement in technology and all. And I want to come to Canada and, further my skills and get the exposure through this diploma program. I'm just giving an example. Your travel history is very important. It's one of the things that causes many people not to get their study visa. So travel history is very important. If your travel history is good, you've been going to other countries and you leave the country within before your visa expires, you stand also high chances of getting a visa. If you've gotten already, maybe you applied to Australia and you got a refusal, you applied to America, to UK, and you were getting refusals, that of course will raise questions with the visa officer because they would want to know why. Or are you just moving, hopping from one country to another, trying to apply for a study visa? So not to discourage you, but I'm just raising this guy, so you pay attention to that. If you are in that situation, then include it in your statement of purpose. Make sure you explain why you got those refusals. Don't submit an express entry profile at the same time you're applying for a study visa because that already is, they have a way, guys, of getting into their records and seeing that, okay, so Judith applied for a study visa and she also has an express entry profile. So it means she wants to come and settle permanently in Canada. And yet with a study visa, you are saying, I'll leave Canada when I'm done studying. So if you want to try the study route, do the study route, apply for the study visa, then you can create your express entry profile once you are here in Canada. If you want to settle here permanently, don't do it simultaneously. You have an express entry profile, you are applying for a study visa at the same time. It decreases your chances of getting the study visa. Misrepresentation of information, guys. With Canada, you need to make sure that the information that you are providing is accurate. Don't omit some important information deliberately. That's misrepresentation. So make sure that you provide information that is accurate. If you have educational qualifications that you have, don't fake documents, because the Canadian government always try to verify and make sure that the information that you are providing to them is accurate. We wouldn't want you to be banned from applying again for a study visa or any other visa that you may want to use to come to Canada. So guys, well, I think I've said enough. For the proof of funds, guys, I forgot. So you need at least to be able to prove that you can fund your studies for the whole program. And most colleges already, when you apply, they require you to pay 1 year tuition fees. So you've already, either you show proof that you've paid your 1 year tuition, and they need you to have at least 10,000 Canadian dollars to cover your living expenses if you are coming as an individual. If you are bringing your spouse and kids, So for your spouse, it's an additional $4,000, and for kids, it's $3,000 per child. So you add that, guys, and you can see how much you might need for you to apply for that study permit and come and get that Canadian qualification. Be blessed, guys. Share the videos with your friends, and remember to like and subscribe, guys. Pass on the information to people that you think might benefit from it. See you in my next video.